And welcome you inside to season number 20, episode number 17 of the Sports Den. We're taking you through all the action in Blaine Centennial Spring Lake Park High School sports for the week. We got 11 different teams that we are going to touch on at one point in the show today. Busy part of the schedule, Mary. Had some of those snow cancellations earlier in the month. We're starting to catch up in a busy part of the schedule and a lot of big games coming up for our network schools on North Metro TV.
Very big games, and all with implications for where teams will lie in the conference standings. And we start things out, Matt, on the ice as the Spring Lake Park boys hockey team tries to find its way back into the win column against Northwest suburban foe Coon Rapids. A great chance here for the Panthers to capture a win over the Cardinals, who score a .500 record coming into the game. Scoreless first period until Coon Rapids lights the lamp first. Tristan Golan all over the rebound for the first goal of the game. The first period clock winding down. Drew Lundquist ties the game with a goal short side. Midway through the second frame, Panthers on the power play, and Teddy Wackman one-times it into the open net off the feed from Jacob Rombach. Spring Lake Park takes the lead. The Cardinals would score soon after, so the two would stay tied until the third period, and that's where SLP jumps in front with a goal off the odd man rush scored by Wackman for his second of the game, but the Panthers struggling to hold the lead. Here's Coon Rapids with the answer again, this time with the man advantage. Eli Bowden cleans up in front. Tied again until Spring Lake Park's Jay Balsamo fires home the game-winning goal on the power play. Panthers come out on top 4-3, and Wackman, the star of the game, striking twice in the back-and-forth nail-biter of Cole Balsamo, netted the game winner, and the Panthers improved to 5-11-1 overall. The shots advantage in favor of Spring Lake Park with 46. And Wackman, how about that? 2 goals and a very important win for the Panthers.
Yeah, right. I mean, so important when the Panthers match up with those teams that are close to them in the standings, right? They take their lumps against some of those elite teams in the top of the Northwest Suburban Conference, and really good win for Spring Lake Park. You learn from those matchups of those top teams to take it to a team, and a really good game to beat the Cardinals. Good win for the Panthers.
And now more action going on Saturday involving our area teams. It's the Blaine boys hockey team falling to Holy Family 9-1. The Bengals' lone goal was scored by Grant Nadolny.
Yeah, tough one for the Bengals, who've lost 9 straight now since beating Wisconsin-based Hudson High School. Good Holy Family team, though. They're a contender in Section 2AA, and we're a number 16 team in the state coming into this matchup. So, again, Blaine finding themselves new head coach, a lot of new faces, and continue to play a really top-notch schedule, and the Fire included in that group.
I know they're hungry to try and find their way back into the left-hand column. Well, Centennial and the state-ranked Rogers face off in a very important matchup, with both teams near the top of the conference standings trying to create some separation. It was a high-scoring game, but the rally for Centennial fell short. A 9-5 loss for the Cougars gives Rogers their 8th win within the conference, and Centennial is now 7-3 in the conference.
Yeah, surprising result, I think. I think Centennial in a rematch feels like they could make this game a lot closer with Rogers, and maybe one we see later on in Section 5AA. This probably notches the Cougars down to, at best, a 3 seed at this point. Weird game, 5-0 after the first. Peyton Blair gets a hat trick in the second period, and a lot of gaudy point totals you see in a game without a whole lot of defense.
Yeah, 5 goals for Centennial. You would think that would be enough, but not against Rogers. Here's what the conference standings look like. We've kind of brushed over them already, but 3rd-ranked Maple Grove stands at the top with 9 wins in the conference, 9-1-1, and Centennial tied for 3rd place with 7 wins within the conference, 7-3 as they stand now. And at the bottom, towards the bottom, is Spring Lake Park and then Blaine, both trying to turn things around a little bit, I guess you could say. And as we move on to what's ahead, coming up for Blaine, they face Anoka, and then an in-conference matchup, an all-important one for the area against Spring Lake Park on the 28th, a 7 o'clock puck drop. Then over for Centennial. They're on the road for 6 straight games, a long road stretch, and it begins with Champlain Park and state-ranked Maple Grove, and then Spring Lake Park meets 8th-ranked Andover next, and of course Blaine.
So things wrapping up for boys hockey around the state as well too. We had a treat, a great matchup on Saturday as we transition to girls hockey, where a rarity, where we have all 3 of our North Metro TV schools involved in one game. Blaine traveling to take on 8th-ranked Centennial SLP in a really good matchup in girls hockey on Saturday night in the Centennial Sports Arena. Lone matchup of the season as the Bengals took it 2-1 last year. Haley Hansen, no surprise, the Minnesota State Mankato commit coming up big. She made some huge saves in a first period, kept it scoreless after 1. Centennial would get on the board. Their star, future Gopher Lauren O'Hara with the breakthrough. Cougars would add a second. Great pass up ahead to open things up and make it a 2-zip lead as Alexis Larson, the sophomore, added the second. This would be close because of some terrific saves from Hansen. O'Hara, though, would shoot one top shelf at her second of the game, and the Cougars rolled to their 3rd shutout win in the last 4.
Bill Hupp here with Centennial SLP star winger Lauren O'Hara after she scored 2 goals in a 3-0 win over rival Blaine. And Lauren, you faced a really tough goaltender tonight in Haley Hansen. You knew it was going to take a special effort to beat her, and you were able to do that. Take us through your first goal you scored in the second period.
Yeah, I was going down on a 2-on-1. I saw that she gave me the shot, so I took it. I'll take that any day. And yeah, she's an incredible goalie. I played with her in the summer, so it's always tough to get pucks past her, but it was good.
Did you think about making the pass, or did you see that she was almost kind of cheating the pass, so you took the shot?
Yeah, I was planning on passing that one over to JC there, but I saw the D gave me it, and I saw an opening on the left side, so I took it.
The offense has really been clicking. Obviously, 3 goals tonight. You're averaging about 4.5 goals a game. However, you've had shutouts in 3 of the last 4 wins. How much is the defense improving, and how important is that going to be going forward?
Yeah, that's something that we're trying to key on a lot here, and we're improving on it, but I think it's getting better, and our goalies are playing really good here. So, yeah, it's good, just getting any puck out and making smart plays.
Great game. The 2 goals from O'Hara, the University of Minnesota commit, leads the way for the Cougars in this one. She now has 28 goals in the season, and it gets her to 40 points on the year, so very well on pace to what will be her 2nd consecutive 50-point season in a Cougar uniform. This game was pretty back and forth in the early goings. About halfway through the first period, the shots were even at 6-6. Kind of the depth of the Cougars took over, and they end up heavily outshooting the Bengals in this one. It's the 3rd shutout win for the Cougars in the last 4 games. So that team with a terrific offense that are second only to Andover in the Northwest Suburban, starting to play some really tight defense. You heard Bill Hupp talk about that a little bit with O'Hara. Haley Hansen just absolutely terrific. We saw one of several spectacular saves for the Mankato commit. She finishes with 38 in the losing effort for the Bengals. Move on to the standings as they look in Northwest Suburban Conference for Centennial. They are in second, already with a couple of losses in hand to Maple Grove, who sit ahead of them in the standings. They're going to have a big matchup in terms of conference implications as they take on a top 10 ranked Andover team coming up tomorrow night on Tuesday for the Cougars. And Blaine in the mix. They had come in 3rd. They have been playing really strong despite being a little bit shorthanded. So back-to-back losses for Blaine. Next up on the slate for the Bengals, they'll see Osseo Park Center. Then they will go out of conference for a couple to take on Hastings and Eastridge. For Centennial SLP, we mentioned the big matchup against the reigning champs Andover coming up tomorrow night before they take a brief dip outside of conference play and buckle down for that strong finish in the Northwest Suburban Conference slate.
It's an exciting time for Centennial specifically in trying to continue to prove their case with important games coming up.
We got the action on the ice all covered for you. We're going to move things to the hardwood, starting with girls basketball. Tuesday night with Spring Lake Park hosting Robbinsdale Armstrong in a matchup of two teams that had come in with identical 3-4 records in conference play. The Falcons swept the Parameetings last year. Cam Smith, the senior guard, stepping back from beyond the arc to hit an early three and give the Panthers the lead. Melena Dilly-Starks with an answer on the other end for Armstrong. It was a back-and-forth first half. Neither team led by double digits at any point. Brianna Nussbaum goes caroming into that wall behind the basket for a tough finish. Carly Fisher kept this game very close for Armstrong, taken over for a stretch in the first half. She had 19 points before the break. A couple of free throws from Cam Smith would make it a 36-all ball game at the break. Ball is life. Such is life. Bella Such would step out from beyond the three and knock that one down. Nussbaum was really impressive, leading SLP with 16 points in that game, including that running finish. 9 minutes left to go. Dilly-Starks gets into the paint. Little jump stop for Armstrong. Falcons within 2. Smith, really important what she did on the dribble drive to create space on the outside. Such would lay it in, and it would be the Panthers hitting some clutch free throws down the stretch, and they would hang on to execute in this one and take it by a final of 72-65.
I know that you guys in the Panthers have been playing a little bit shorthanded, 6-player rotation, but you guys are playing really well the last couple of weeks. How are you guys pushing through it?
Well, we've been working through practice, hustling, and we knew that we would be down, so we just mental toughness, and we all work really well together as a team.
You are out there running the show a little bit at the guard position. You guys get double-digit contributions from everybody in the starting lineup tonight. What's it like playing out there when you guys are all kind of clicking in different periods during the game?
It's really nice because we've been playing together, our group, for a while, especially the junior class. We've grown up together since fourth grade, and all of us, we just really worked well together. We kind of know what each of us are going to do.
Nussbaum, who you heard the interview with, ends up leading the way for the Panthers with 16 points, tied with Smith, who also reached her in scoring. Important for the Panthers to get those double-digit contributions from all 5 of their starters, because it is a very thin bench right now for the SLP girls with just a 6-player rotation. They've been playing really well through that stretch now, 4-1 over a 5-game stretch where they've been largely shorthanded. We mentioned the name of Carly Fisher, who hit a big 3 in our highlights, 29 points. She had 19 of those in the first half, so able to keep the Falcons hanging around in this game as the Panthers were able to hold a really good player, too, in Savannah McGowan. She had double figures in just about every game to the season, and the Panther defense holds her to a season-low 6, a big key to the victory for SLP. While this game was going on in Spring Lake Park, the boys were on the road at Armstrong taking on the Falcons. Kind of a little bit of a similar story to the girls' game. Nice balance scoring from the Panthers, who you see get double figures from 3 of their starters, Kingsay and Shaw, and Owen Scram, great name, keeping the Falcons hanging around in this one with a 31-point effort and 6 rebounds to go along with it. Panthers win it by 2. On to Blaine and Rogers, where in girls basketball action as well, too. The Bengals take it to Rogers in a close contest in Northwest Suburban Play. Senior Molly Garber leads the way for the Bengals, her 5th consecutive game in double figures in the win here for Blaine. On the boys' side of that same matchup, the Bengal boys team having one of the best runs by any of our North Metro TV schools right now this winter. Ethan Pettis continues to lead the state with 63 three-point makes. He led the way with 20 points. Ryan Bowman, Zach Schusted, great two-sport athletes on the soccer field, add double figures as well, too. Back to girls action, where we saw Centennial cruise to a win over Andover, 65-52 in this one. See a couple of Frosts getting into the action for both the Huskies and the Cougars. Marissa Frost, our favorite, with 21 points as the leading scorer for the Cougars in this one. Nice Northwest Suburban Conference win for the Cougars, who I think on a normal year, a run-of-the-mill season, Centennial might be the best of the bunch on the girls' side. But you've got a terrific Maple Grove team who are looking to run the table still in the Northwest Suburban Conference. Blaine competing their 5 4 in league play. Spring Lake Park just a game behind after they picked up a good win against Armstrong, who were right sitting next to them in the NWSC standings.
And now on the boys' side, you saw all of the action and close action important for the Northwest Suburban Conference standings. Park Center is undefeated in conference play. As you look further down, Blaine is 4-3 after its most recent action. Spring Lake Park 3-4. Centennial still looking for a conference win as things continue. They are 2-11 overall. Now for the road ahead for the girls basketball schedules. Blaine most recently picked up that win over Rogers. They next are on the road at Andover. Then they'll come back home for a meeting with Champlin Park. Centennial, on the other hand, 2 really strong wins as far as what we can see here on the schedules. Then they take a trip to Anoka for a matchup tomorrow. They stay on the road for meeting with Coon Rapids before coming back home for important games against Elk River and Champlin Park. Spring Lake Park, more action ahead against Totino Grace, a 5:30 start. After that, they stay home for a handful of games. Rogers and Coon Rapids on deck. For the road ahead for the boys, starting with Blaine, they get that win over Rogers, trying to continue that successful way against Andover at home. Then they will take the road to Champlin Park. Centennial trying to get back into the win column with Anoka, hosting Anoka for a 7 p.m. start. Then they host Coon Rapids over on the far side. Spring Lake Park will match up against Totino Grace, trying to keep that win streak alive. Then they'll hit the road for meetings with Rogers and Coon Rapids. Some really important stuff there, and this really is the time of the year you mentioned at the start of the show, Matt, where things continue to get more important as far as the conference standings have a say. And we turn it over now to the action on the mat. We had Blaine visiting Andover for an all-important matchup. It was a big weekend of wrestling throughout the state, and we see a great matchup here against Blaine and Andover. Andover hosting the duel. We start at 126 pounds, where Blaine's Zach Johnson meets Elias Howell. First period, Johnson with the reversal to get on the board. Howell carried a 4-2 lead into the third period, but Johnson gets another reversal to tie it, and Johnson wins by decision 7-5. Next, we go to 132 pounds, where Bryce Young and for Blaine taking on Carson Wilkie. And a minute and 20 seconds in, Young gets the pin, a big victory for the Bengals there. Moving on now to the heavyweights, Jack Pena outlasts Blaine, Elijah Luegi, and Andover wins the duel 56-12. Turning it over to a very exciting adapted floor hockey clash between Mounds View and North Suburban. Our Cougars sporting the red, white, and black unis. There's a shot by the Cougars down low, and it's backhanded in front to give North Suburban the early lead. Lots of goals scored by the Cougars in this one. There's a shot point blank, and it finds the back of the net. The Cougars lead 2-0. And here's a beauty of a feed and a beauty of a celly after it's sniped home. Later, a pass to the point. Great chemistry between this Cougars team, and the shot is taken. It somehow sees its way through all of the traffic in for another goal. The Cougars are feeling it, as you can see in this one, Matt, and a goal from deep. Number 8 showing off the handles, and truly the adapted floor hockey scene proving to be very exciting, and the Cougars put on a show in front of their home crowd.
Love the sellies, love hunting rebounds too, so yeah, really great stuff. And you see the fist bumps, you see the high fives, love it. Great couple of celebration games too from our team in this one.
Yeah, you have the fundamentals down, everyone getting in on the action. We've talked about balanced scoring throughout this show. This is a perfect display of balanced scoring and everyone getting in on the action. And North Suburban gets a huge victory, 14-2.
Yeah, that's a fun one. We love taking in, again, action from all of our teams around North Metro schools. Really busy January, too, right? It feels like we're making up a lot of games, Monday, Wednesday night games that we're not used to seeing. So, again, just a lot of action, jam-packed. We'll be back for the Sports Den next week to catch you all up on it as well. So again, from Mary Rominger, from myself, Matt Dean, Ted LaRue, and our great crew, this has been Season 20, Episode number 17 of the Sports Den on North Metro TV.
And the playoffs.